The reason why I'm doing this video, I have noticed like with everything, people are always trying to get you to try to date them or date or something. Even in the churches are always trying to condone relationships. Think about it when the pastor comes out, oh, my honorable husband, my honorable wife, and all this stuff, I love you, all this stuff right here. And 5 minutes before they even got on stage, they were fighting, arguing, whatever the case may be. But they put on these shows like relationships are what it's supposed to be. The church does not actually respond to the New Testament where Apostle Paul says it is better to be alone. A lot of us are not aware of the challenges that really is taking place. I mean, you want companionship, but at the same time, you know nothing about yourself and being lonely and your own ship or the ownership of yourself. We are in a society that keeps us blind through certain behavior patterns or connections with people that are not good for us but toxic, and they continuously condone you being in those type of relationships to keep you blind, docile, idle to what's really going on. We talk about marriage and how you're supposed to get married. I mean, we look at young girls. Young girls are getting pregnant without even one part take in being pregnant. They're getting pregnant because they're being brainwashed and told, hey, you should be having babies. But what they don't understand that their baby is considered a bastard. A bastard child wasn't even considered a legitimate child or having legitimate rights in a relationship. You were basically considered a whore because you had a baby outside of marriage and stuff like that. But this was all condoned because of the brainwashing and the demonic possessions that's going on. And the church is condoning a lot of this foolishness that needs to stop. You're not telling them that they're having the spirit of homosexuality because they're sexually active outside of marriage, sometimes even inside of marriage. You can get these issues of homosexuality. That's part of the reason why Apostle Paul was telling people stay to yourself. Don't date. Don't enter into relationships. It will cause demonic possession. A lot of times we're dealing with men, and the men have messed with multiple women, and they no longer have a desire for a woman anymore. And that desire for him not desiring a woman was the same as them desiring a woman at the time when they were running around with multiples. It was a demonic possession. But nobody talks about this. All the forceful things that people do trying to force people into relationships, trying to force them to go, trying to force them to date, trying to force them to be with someone. It creates a major problem. And nobody talks about the problems that they create. Nobody's talking about the issues that's taking place. Nobody's talking about none of this stuff. All they want you to do is just enter into a relationship, shut up, and don't tell nobody about it. We are dealing with women that are dating that are being raped. You have stories of Mary. Mary wasn't pregnant by no doggone Holy Ghost. What holiness impregnates a virgin? That's the foul. Stop telling these lies to these people about she was pregnant by the Holy Ghost. She wasn't. She was defiled. You degraded her. For a woman to be found pregnant outside of marriage by a man that she was sitting up there and she was engaged to, it's never a good sign. But this is type of society that we live in that condones so much hoism, so they'll sit up and they'll call hoism holy. And it's wrong. It's defiling. You have virgins now that are coming with child. You have people boasting about how they're raping children, women, men, and everything else, and we're condoning the behavior because we too out of it to actually wake up and say, "Hey, man, I'm wrong. I made a mistake." We can't wake up because everything in our society condones certain behavior. We condone Sodom and Gomorrah behavior. We're condoning it. Sodom and Gomorrah, when you have two males that enter into a city and every man comes out and everybody want to go sleep with them, if that ain't the LGBT community, I don't know what is. But at the same time, we're not talking about those type of things. We're not addressing those type of issues. We're not advocating for the innocence of our people. All those people in Sodom and Gomorrah was possessed. Think about what it takes to open up a city. You have to have an entity. To actually open up a city, you have to own your own entity. To actually start your own city, you have to have a certain amount of acres, and that city can either be a good city and can be a safe haven, or it can be a city full of sin. But it's how it's ran, how it's conducted, how the business is taken care of. We have so much going on that we're not even awakening to just simple commandments. It's better to be alone. Why did Apostle Paul say this? This was a married man saying, it's better for me to be by myself. They're not telling you about the reports of men saying, hey, I never slept with my wife and my wife is with child. And my wife never cheated on me. You're hearing the story about King David, how he seen this woman bathing and took her without her permission. He ordered her to be with him. Nobody ever said that. And then the prophet came to him and said, it was wrong for you to do that. That man had one wife. You have all these different women that you could run around with, but this man only had one woman that was his, and he was on the front line for God. We don't talk about the sinful behavior and such things, and we don't deal with it. Everybody's trying to say hush hush about it because we blinded to a certain degree about certain things. But this is the same story of the city of the blind man. We don't know what to call this elephant that's in the room, but at the same time, the elephant's stumping and destroying everything. We really need to wake up. Our women need to wake up. Half of the time, our women walking out naked. Let me be real with you. I wasn't a good example for my kids growing up because I was dealing with demonic possession. I wasn't a good example for my children. My daughters, I wasn't a good example for them. I was half dressed, half naked, half in the street, half at home, half trying to serve God, half out of my doggone mind. But to be totally honest with you, I started realizing that the enemy had devices that were already set up for me for destruction and destroying my mind, my body, my soul, and my spirit. And the moment that the enemy starts seeing me breaking free from those devices, guess what shows up? A partner. But that wasn't a partner. That was another responsibility that's showing up for you to take care of it. Not offering no support, no help, no nothing. We have to really know what we're dealing with and stuff like that. We're dealing with sickness, body sickness. This ain't coincidental sickness. This is sickness that come with purpose and cause. This is sickness that these people have already planned to do to our society. It's we keep talking about how are all these people on dialysis? They're on dialysis because they're sick and tired of eating y'all feces. That's why they're on dialysis. And urine and stuff like that, where you contaminated the water source and everything else. That's why most of the people are on dialysis. They tired of y'all spitting down their throat, giving them tuberculosis and all this other mess that y'all doing. They're tired of going weak with osteoporosis because the only way that you can rule is if somebody's sick and docile. We have so many different afflictions in the community. We have our sons now, they think they women. We have our women now thinking that they're men. We got our daughters running around here talking about they men. You can be a man, but you're gonna be a man of the female origins. You can be whatever you want to be, but you will be of the origins in which you was born. We're not addressing all these issues because if a woman's strong enough, to say no, she's not considered a woman anymore. She's considered a man because she's strong enough to say no. So now she's up against men attacking her who's supposed to call themselves the lead authority, but they can't lead for nothing because they refuse to do what God says. And we've been dealing with this for multiple years where basically our people, we're either docile or under oppression. Docile or under oppression. Docile or enslaved. All you're trying to do is work a simple job, come home, take care of your family. That's what you can't even do that correct because you got other people in your business trying to make you docile so that you can be enslaved under them, doing what they want you to do, how they want you to do it, the way they want you to do it. You're deprived of education because half these educational programs is another way to keep you docile. How is it we have women and men going to school every day, but yet and still lacking education? You got a race that wants nothing but hoism and people's enslaved to them under a form of hoism and up under a lifestyle that isn't becoming of them. You have programs for programs. All these programs that's for a program is to keep you sitting up there with nothing. And I'm gonna be real with you. Half of the programs were created to give you more than what you need. This is something like Solomon Keys. You know what I'm saying? It's designed to give you more than what you need. You're getting double, sometimes three times portion, but at the same time, that never hits you because another person is trying to take from you everything and keep you without nothing and want you to sit here and take whatever they hand out. Those symbols on Solomon Keys was talking about the things that you would go through under them as they try to oppress you. You will not be able to see. You can only see with your hands or when they touch something that you are touching. We are under all out attack. Nobody's saying nothing. The military has been under attack. And guess what? Half of the people that are under attack, they're looked at as the predator. Our communication systems are under attack. How is it when you call in 911 that you can't get 911? You're getting another person who's monitoring your calls. They're not talking about what's really taking place in these communities and stuff like that, where they talking about sovereignty. Sovereignty was actually created because they were sick and tired of being oppressed. Sovereignty isn't a slave society, but that's what they cover up enslaving the people under. Religion isn't slavery. It's supposed to be a form of freedom, but yet and still, a lot of times they're using religion to enslave the mind of young women and men to just go along with whatever they do. It's offensive. Half of the groups we talk about between pearls and stuff like that, these are women fighting for sexual rights, saying, I refuse to have sex and I have a right to do that. But we don't talk about how many 20 pros are now up under attack and forced to be with in relationships and forced to be sexually active. Or how many of them are married, but at the same time, their marriage is nothing but a way for them to infiltrate the group. It's so much more to a lot of this stuff that's going on. We joining organizations, we're joining groups that are supposed to be put together for the greater good, these sororities and frats and all this different stuff. But at the same time, we're coming into sinister organizations, not understanding that they became sinister because they were under attack. We're coming into religions. The religions are now becoming sinister because they're under attack. I remember sitting up there reading books on the Catholic, and when they were attacked, talking about they were child molesters because a lot of people was converting to being Catholics, and these people had a great personality. I have never visited any religious organization from the Normans. mostly every religious organization that I have visited, wonderful people, but they're fighting against the attacks that are happening within their organizations. I have never met a group of people that weren't wonderful people. And I know a lot of LGBT people are wonderful people. But I can't tell y'all that y'all under attack. I can't tell y'all about the demonic possession. I can't tell you in complete detail everything that I want to really say, because even with me saying it out clearly, and I'm just like giving y'all like the clear parts of it, it's so much more to this than what I'm saying. So much more. It's like I'm just scraping the surface. Like I'm not really getting to the wound the way I want to get to it. It's like it's so much more that has to be said. It's so much more that's going on. It's so much more that's really happening. I mean, I'm sitting up here and I'm watching law enforcement go up on attack so another group of people can continue to attack citizens. So now you got a group that's destroying law enforcement, and you got a group that's trying to build up law enforcement to be better, and it's like so much going on, too much going on. One's trying to build it up saying, okay, we are what they attacked, we are going to still make this place better and stuff like that. Stop, sweetheart, stop wasting this. We are going to make this place better, but at the same time you got a lot going on. We have to really wake up to what's really taking place, and a lot is taking place. They're not telling the whole story. I can't even tell the whole story. I'm just scratching the surface. And if you think my scratching the surface is bad, wait until we get to the root of the problem. Because we might be too late. And the sad part about it being too late ain't a good thing. We are on the verge of civil war right here in the United States. It has to happen. It's not something that we can just ignore. Civil war has to happen when you have constitutional laws and all of them, these people are consistently trying to violate. Have a right to bear arms, but at the same time, they don't even want law enforcement officers bearing arms outside of the workforce. Why is that? Because half of the law enforcement officers you have been attacking. You have an intellectual property rule and policy that a lot of companies are adapting to, talking about the patents, talking about your entities. These things are not just simple things. You have people as though they're enslaved, they're slaves, but yet and still you want them to work diligently like as if nothing's going on and be a good little person, but at the same time, you're not. We have too much going on here in America. And a lot of other countries going through the same thing. I hear people all the time, oh, I'm gonna run to Africa. I'm gonna run here. I'm gonna run there. Do you really think running to all these different countries is fixing the problem? You can run all over the world. This is a global attack. It's happening in everywhere. We talk about Israel going through attack. We talk about all these countries going through attack with no remorse, no end in sight. We talk about inflation. Why is inflation so important when we have governments talking about we're handing out free food, we're giving food, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're giving $200,000 checks, $500,000 checks, we're doing $600,000 checks. We just sent out $10,000 checks. Guess why? It's important because you're funding the agendas of the enemy who is not for you. You are not funding the people. You're funding the agendas of the enemy. The enemy knows when those checks are going to come out. They swipe them all, take them all, and leave the people without in poverty. The programs that's taking place, of course, you set up there, you hit a high margin, but guess what? They lowered that margin at those companies and turned around and paid those people 10 times less than what you gave them. It's the same Solomon Keys that have been playing for quite some time, and they've been getting away with it. When the man was asked, why is it that you don't have? Why are you growing fail? Why are you feeling weak? Why are you sick? When I have given you double portions, I have given you more than anybody else. This is the words that Solomon said to him as he was building the temple. And the servant says, this thing is taking everything from me. It's taking it. I cannot stop it. Why can't you stop it? You can't stop what you can't see. No, I'm finished. You can't stop what you can't report. How are you going to report me for rape when you don't even call the actual law enforcement? Your reports aren't getting to them. It's getting to a phony system. How are you going to stop me from doing criminal acts when the people that's supposed to stop me from doing criminal acts, hey, they already attacking them. They blind too. They taking them out they mind too. Everything that ain't them, they attacking. And if you think that you're going to become one of them and not go through, you better think again. Hopefully, these words encourage you guys. Hope they give you some insight. Like I said, I do these videos constantly telling people what's really taking place, telling people what's really happening because guess what? They ain't going to post it on the news. Even if we go to the news station, half of those news stations are taken over by another group. Like back in the days, they was taken over by all these different groups, and these groups set up there and ran the news station, and real news never showed up. Basically, they puppeteered news to sit up there and fit them and what they want. Hopefully, these words encourage you guys. Take care. Make sure y'all monitoring. Make sure y'all keep yourself safe. Make sure y'all find alternative sources. I tell people all the time, start investing in camping equipment, not for the fact of you having to leave your home, but for the fact that we're not sure how long the light's going to be on. Take care.